welcome to the yarn tail tutorial. If you want to make a yarn tail like this, you've come to the right place.
Alright, let's just ignore how corny that intro was and get on with the video. So first you're going to need yarn. I'm using this thinner yarn. I'm really sorry I don't have the brand name. I do not remember what it is and I cannot find the tag, but I got it at Walmart. I'm pretty sure any thin yarn will do, and I'm using polyester yarn. So first you're just going to pick your colors. I have a couple different colors here, and I think I'm just going to use the lighter tan one. Next you're going to need scissors and a book, something to wrap the yarn around. This book, I'm measuring it and it is 6 inches exactly, so just for reference, and the part on the side there doesn't matter. Now this part is totally optional, but next you're going to need something to brush the yarn to make it look more like fur. I'm using a small comb and a pet brush. This is the pet brush I used. This part is totally optional though, you do not have to brush the yarn. I just like to do it to make it look more like fur. Okay, and now I'm going to show you how to make the core of the tail. The part that holds all the fur together. You're going to need to double the string like this. Now this part is very important, so make sure you don't forget to double it. And also it can be any length that you want. I'm going to make it extra long just in case, because I can always cut it off later. If I decide I want it to be a little bit shorter, I can always cut some off. So I recommend adding a few extra inches and then just cut it like this. So there we go. Now we have a doubled string. And you want to make sure you leave this side a loop. It's very, very important. Don't cut this side. And you can leave the other side just like this. So you have a loop and the other side is not a loop. Okay, and now I'm going to show you how to make the fur. So you're going to take a book and the yarn you want to use, and I am just going to tuck the end inside the book just to hold it in place. And then you're just going to start wrapping it around. And remember, this book is 6 inches. So each strand that I'm wrapping around is 6 inches long. The size doesn't really matter too much. If it's longer, your tail will be more fluffy. And if it's shorter, your tail will be like a little bit skinnier. But I think 6 inches is perfect. And once you're done, you can just go ahead and cut it like this. So there we go. And you can do a lot more at a time, but I'm just going to do a little bit just to show you. Okay, so now you just cut it like this, right in half. It's a lot easier to cut on this side of the book. There we go. And right now I'm just straightening them all out so they'll be even, or somewhat even. It doesn't matter if they're a little bit different lengths. Okay, and we're going to cut them in half one more time. So I'm holding the ends together like this. I'll take the scissors and cut. This part can be a little bit tricky. You can do a few at a time, or you can do them all together. Okay, so now we're starting to make the bundles of yarn. This is the fur that we will tie onto the core of the tail. If you have smaller, thinner yarn like me, you should probably use 10 pieces of yarn together, and if yarn is thicker, I recommend doing 5. It really all depends on how much you want to tie together. I am doing 10. Okay, now for the tying part. Take the ends together like this and just cross them over. And put the ones behind and tuck them in. It's really just a simple knot. Some viewers said they had trouble doing it, so I'm just showing you here. But if you know already how to tie a knot, then yes, it's just a simple knot. Make sure to pull it tight, really tight. You want to make the knot in the middle as small as possible. And you can even go ahead and take each strand individually and pull it tight, just to make the knot really small. As you can see, some of the strands are not all the same length, and that's totally okay. It'll definitely make the tail look more natural, so it's totally fine. Okay, and now we're just gonna do that a couple more times. Okay, so I have done 5. You can probably do a lot more. You probably have to make the tail really big, but I'm just showing you with a few here. So now you're going to take the core of your tail, the tailbone, and you're going to take the end with the loop, and we'll take one bundle of string, and you're going to take a little strand of string from each side, just like this. And then you're going to tie it on the end. So we'll just loop it under and tie it tight. This is how it's attached. Tying it on the end like this prevents any other yarn from falling off. So make sure you tie this part really tight, and I'm also going to double knot it. Okay, and now I'm going to brush it. Remember, this part is optional. I like to start with the comb first, just to separate the yarn. It's pretty hard to do in my hand here, so I'll show you it all speeded up. Okay, I am done using the comb. This is how it looks. It looks pretty good like this. You can honestly leave it like this if you like. It works for certain animal tails. But now I'm going to use the pet brush just to kind of make it look more fluffy. Alright, and this is how it looks after it's brushed with the pet brush. I think it looks really good. And you can see it's not fully brushed there, but don't worry, it'll be covered over with other fur. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to add on more fur. Just put it under the string like this, and just grab a strand of yarn from each side, and just go ahead and tie it. And I like to double knot it. It holds it on a lot better. If you don't, it kind of just falls off like really easily, so make sure you double knot it. Okay, and now I'm going to go ahead and brush it. I'm using the comb first to separate the yarn, and then I'm going to use the pet brush to make it look all fluffy, just like fur. Okay, now that I'm done this piece, I can just go ahead and slide it down, just like this. So this is how you build up the tail. Just keep adding pieces on to the middle, and pretty soon it'll be done. So I'm gonna go ahead and add another one. Remember, just tying it again, make sure to double knot it so it doesn't fall off. Now, as you can see, it definitely takes a lot of time to build up the size of the tail. So yarn tails can take a lot of time, but it's important to just be patient and trust the process. Now you can see these parts here, they're kind of separated. So you can just take a brush and brush them all together. I don't think you should do this too much though, as you can pull out a lot of fur. And then they can just become really thin. So try and leave as much fur on as possible. Here is one I've worked on for a while now. I don't know how many strands are all put together since I didn't count, but I definitely worked on this for a very long time. So it's just kind of what it looks like after building up a lot of the fur. And if you are brushing your yarn tail, there's a couple different ways to do it. You can tie all of the strands on first and then brush them, or you can put them on one at a time and brush them right after another. So I've seen different ways to do it. I say if you put them all on and then you brush it, it can actually take out a lot more fur in my experience, so I recommend doing it like the way I did it in this tutorial. Okay, now I'm going to show you how to make the clip on the tail so you can attach it to your belt. It's really just a simple wire hook, but I'm going to show you how to attach it to the tail. So I'm going to be using the bigger tail for this demonstration just because the smaller one is too small. So you're going to need a paper clip like this, and you're just going to bend it out straight. You can use normal wire too. I think paper clips work pretty well. Okay, so I've bent it out and it's all straight now. So you're going to take somewhere near the middle and just start wrapping this part around. So hold the end here and just start wrapping. If you want your tail to be shorter, you can just go ahead and cut some of this and wrap a little bit closer to the tail. But later I might add more onto the tail, so if I want to do that I can always just unwrap it and add a little bit more fur on. So it's all wrapped up now, and I'm just bending this side to secure it. Just make sure it's really secure, and then you take the other side and just curve it like a hook. So there we go, this is how it looks when it's done. It's a pretty good method. I think you can always like glue like a different hook on or something. That part's totally optional. Here I'm going to show you how I attach it. So you can go ahead and attach it to a belt loop or just a belt like this. That's one way to do it, and it stays pretty strong. Like it stays on very well actually. Another way to do it is just to put it right through the fabric. It goes pretty easily through jeans. It's a lot better through like leggings or something. So there's probably definitely better ways to attach a hook onto a yarn tail. But for tails for your personal use, I think this works just fine. Alright, thanks for watching!